Hi everybody. Thanks Susan and Elisa for having me today and to everybody for attending. And welcome, and I'm happy to answer any questions. I think we're holding questions till the end, but I'm happy to share those, to answer those. So to share a little bit about my class that I've used VoiceThread in most often is DFN 621. It's called Ethnic and Therapeutic Meal Patterns. It's more commonly known among students as cultural foods. It's a graduate level course, obviously, and it's hybrid. There's a lecture component and a culinary lab component. So basically, the lecture informs students about foodways of different cultures worldwide and highlights how power, privilege, and bias have ultimately had a negative health impact on people and have impacted people's foods in a negative way. So I use the online portion. I kind of manage this in a flipped classroom format. So all of my lectures are online, obviously using VoiceThread. And then when we're in person, I have different students lead discussions before we go into the lab and we cook foods from all of these different cultures that we're discussing. So this is also a zero textbook cost course. And so I have a web page on CUNY Academic Commons where students access all of the readings and videos and anything that I don't embed in my voice threads specifically. So creating the content, obviously this was a course conversion for me. This was a course I was already teaching, and it was really easy to do this. So all you really need to do is upload your existing PowerPoints, and then once they're imported into VoiceThread, you can easily move around individual slides. You can upload new slides. You can change how your lecture or your content progresses at any given time, really. And then after I upload my slides, so I create this series of slides in VoiceThread, then I add additional audio or text content. So for me, recording audio is basically like lecturing. I narrate the slides. It's a different, VoiceThread makes it really easy because it's a different audio clip for each slide or different text or, whatever you're adding in. So if you want to, or if you need to re-record, it's simply a matter of just starting that slide again. You don't have to do the whole lecture over. And maybe one or two of you, like me, have used Camtasia before. I believe that was the name of the program. I got that from Steve Castellano, who's our IT guy at Lehman, and it was really not easy to do. And if you needed to change something in a lecture that you recorded with Camtasia, it was quite difficult. So VoiceThread makes it much, much easier to do that. Oh, I apologize. I didn't turn on my video. Doing that now. Hi. Okay. Hello. So then after I record the audio and I narrate my lecture, then I typically go in and I will add text comments throughout, not on every slide, but where I want to prompt students to do something, or if I want to share a link for different content outside of VoiceThread or outside of Blackboard. And that makes it really easy to prompt students to do certain things at certain times, in the same way that I would in an in-person lecture style class if I wanted to show a video or something like that. So for instance, on the example that I have on this slide, I've reminded students that they need to post an original comment and respond to 2 of their peers as part of the assignment, which I use Assignment Builder for, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So I also use the text feature if I want to respond to students online, which I don't typically do as much, but I could easily do that using the text, audio or video commenting options as well. So once, sorry, I can go to the next slide now. Once each of my VoiceThread lectures are made, or after one is made, then I can link to it through Blackboard using the assignment builder. And I do that so that I can have students comment and it will sync with Blackboard very easily for me to grade it. So as part of my students' participation grade for the course, they have to do these 2 original comments and they have to respond to 2 of their peers. So you can see from the screenshot here from my course that all of the students who post a comment on a particular slide, which they can do through text, audio, or video, appears on the left side. So I see all of their initials lined up, and then I can click on each one and see the individual comments. For this particular lecture that I have screenshotted, I didn't enable the built-in threading feature. I actually didn't know that existed when I did this particular one. But I understand now that it's much easier for them to respond to each other. And the advantage of that is enormous, because then they could have an ongoing conversation very easily on a particular focused topic. That's one of the reasons that I like having students comment on VoiceThreads, is because you can easily follow discussions on a particular topic, kind of in a way that's more easy than Blackboard, because students don't always respond to each other's threads the same way on Blackboard they could in VoiceThread. So then I guess the other thing that I would want to say about the students' comments is that I've really noticed in my class that most students post text comments. They don't often do audio, and I've never had somebody post a video comment. Um, I think that they choose the text because my commenting assignment has several components to it. They have to integrate some points from the readings, and it's kind of complex. So I think that they choose to do that just because they can have all of their notes in front of them, and it makes it easier for me to grade when they have text comments, because then I can easily scan through the comments that they make and grade accordingly. But I also think that if I were to do this in an undergraduate level course, or with a more traditional Lehman student, then I think that other modes of commenting might be preferred. In my graduate level course, students are particularly comfortable with the English language and with their grammar and writing skills. And I think in my undergraduate courses, that's not always the case. So I would imagine that those students might prefer to leave an audio comment. For that reason, I really like that VoiceThread kind of makes the learning environment a little bit more equitable for students. And like I mentioned before, rather than commenting back on VoiceThread, which I could definitely do and have students revisit that really easily, I actually just take their comments and I create discussion questions to facilitate discussion at our next in-person meeting. So we do one online and then one in person, one online, one in person. So I always bring the conversation back to an in-person meeting. And then lastly, editing the VoiceThread content is very easy. Like I was saying before with Camtasia, which is what I was using before, you have to upload all of your slides, you can't change the order, and the audio is all one clip. It's basically like video editing software, and VoiceThread is not. It's much, much easier to just record and move on to edit in the future. And you can import as many new slides as you want. You can delete old slides, and you can make changes as needed from semester to semester. So it's really easy to just go from one semester to the next, even if you want to change your content. I also teach an undergraduate version of this course, which is not hybrid, but so I'm giving most of the lectures in person. But if I need a backup plan as a snow day, if an emergency comes up, then I have the option to just put the link to the VoiceThread that I've already created for that lecture. So it's a great backup option. And then in the event that this happens, I've already posted directions for an assignment for what students should do. And then I can easily just link it within VoiceThread once you go through the process of enabling it within Blackboard. And then the last thing is just that I find that students really like VoiceThread more than they ever did the Camtasia lectures, which were just, you hit play and you watch it all the way through. I think they enjoy this much, much more, and it gives them the opportunity to stop and comment while they're watching the lecture, rather than watch the entire lecture, then go back to Blackboard, comment on a discussion board, then go back to the lecture. It really streamlines everything in an online course. So that's just one more thing that I want to add about why I really enjoy using VoiceThread.